factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Sia, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bites. I'm Ben, this is Sia, and welcome again. Hey, listen, this week we're going to talk about needing affirmation from others and the dangers associated with it. Now, I don't know about you, but there's so many people in my life, whether it's on social media, whether it's people that I mentor, whether it's just people in my life in general, that sit there and go, well, I don't know. I have to check and see what so-and-so thinks, or I have to see what's going on online, or what would Gary V think, or et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sitting there going, okay, why are you living your life based on the approval of others? Why are you sitting there going, oh my God, I can't make any decision for myself. I can't sit there and say, you know what? Let me figure this out and let me move forward. And then I'll sit there and say, if I make a mistake, guess what? I'll reach back, I'll figure it out, and I'll go forward. Too many people are out there sitting there going, I need to have somebody else's permission. I need to have somebody else's approval. I need to have 50 different people weigh in before I even blow my nose. And we need to stop this in life, because by doing that, we're stagnating. You know, decisions never get made in business. Decisions never get made in life. And we sit there and we live in a life of atrophy. Now, Sia, I'd love you to know on this.
No, 100%. When you think about how our culture and society has evolved with social media, I 100% blame this conversation on the fact that we've started putting our our locus of value, self-value, externally versus internally.
Exactly.
And it's just not a healthy way to live, right? And I also feel very strongly, because of that shift in mentality of how we view ourselves and our value to our own self, that we put wrong people on a pedestal, that this cult of celebrity, this cult of influencers, it bothers me. And what I'm seeing on LinkedIn especially is this cult of influencers on LinkedIn, where there's no real value. They're just pundits, right? As we talked about in our previous episode, they're just not of value. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, I feel like, and that's dangerous to me. And I fall victim to it many times. You know, you can't help it. It's a human thing where you see someone that seems to have this perception of success, but in reality, it's literally smoke and mirrors.
Well, and that's the things we need to look at is who are our heroes and why are they our heroes? You know, when we're looking at people, say on social media, let's start with social media, because let's face it, 99% of the world is on social media one way, shape, or form. Well, maybe not that much, but a huge percentage of it is. Everybody is sitting there going, what is this person doing? We follow people. You know, the mentality of just following people. I mean, I've 10,000 people that follow me. God knows why. You know, I'm not this guru on a hill. I'm not this wise sage. I have ideas. I sit there and say, look, this is where I'm going. This is what I think. I may be right. I may be wrong. You know, if you think I'm wrong, chime in. Please do. But there's people that sit there and go, oh my God, Ben said this, so it must be right. And everybody should question. Everybody should sit there and say, does this pass the litmus test of my life? Does this hold true based on the other facts that I'm gaining, my past experience, what I actually think myself, and what my goals are? Instead of sitting there going, well, you know, if Google is doing this, then we should be doing this. If Netflix is doing this, then we should be doing this. If everybody else is buying Bitcoin, we should buy Bitcoin. It doesn't matter whether I understand Bitcoin or not. Everybody else is buying it, so I should buy it.
Yeah.
And we live in a life where that seems to be it. It's that FOMO mentality, that fear of missing out, that fear of, you know, maybe somebody knows something that I don't. And if I don't jump in right now, I'm going to miss out on the next big thing. Well, guess what? There's a billion new things happening every single day. You're not going to get all of them. And the trick is to sit there and say, what are the things that are going to move your life forward, and focus there. So yeah, you're up.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, here's where I wonder if this is again, I know people have heart on me, but I do think life is cyclical. So I'm gonna throw back with generations, right? So I think the Gen Z and millennial population, and they are going to dominate our workforce very quickly here, right?
Absolutely.
As the boomers retire, as us Gen Xers, which is already forgotten about anyway, as we kind of move on and shift, there's going to be a significant shift in how we market, how we communicate, how we do everything together, just because the culture of Gen Z is very much more focused on appearances, on that cult of celebrity, on that cult of influence. And you know what? Is there merit? Is there value to it? I mean, look, if you're a brand and you're marketing and you find a figurehead that is engaging, that's exciting, that's going to be that person, and be like, oh my gosh, they're the face of my brand and it's amazing. And you increase business as a result. I mean, would you really be that critical of the quote influencer, space? I mean, I can see where it goes back and forth, Ben. This is where I struggle so much because nothing is ever black and white, right?
But
There's
here you
always some
think,
gray.
the Marlboro Man was a sphere of influence.
Yes.
I mean, think about it. The Marlboro Man was the manly man who smoked cigarettes, and if he smoked cigarettes, you should smoke cigarettes too. Joe Camel was the cool guy that everybody emulated. I mean, everybody had to have an Xbox. Everybody had to drink Coca-Cola. The Pepsi generation. There has always been a sphere of influence based on a generation before. The question is, are we buying this because it's going to make our life better, or because we perceive because it made their life better, it will make our life better? And that's what we need to be thinking about. We need to be thinking about, is this actually good for us? Or is somebody who we don't really know, but we're supposed to trust, telling us that this is good for us? So therefore they must know better. So we should blindly move forward with them.
Yeah, I know yeah, you know what? Again, I think I'm a total FOMO advocate, as far as like I do FOMO all the time. And anyone asking, fear of missing out. I have this constant need to, like, I don't need to be the life of the party, but I do like to put my pulse on the party and be like, hey guys, what's going on at this party? Like, poke my head in and be like, hey, oh, okay, you guys are playing spin the bottle. You guys keep doing you. I'm gonna move on in a different space. But at least I know you're playing spin the bottle. And of course, for anyone that doesn't know what spin the bottle is, well, Google it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
just Google it.
we'll just Google it. But again, it is with social media, and I'm sure, like in the comments that we're seeing, is the fact that we have this imaginary perspective of work-life balance that the influencer culture tries to sell, right?
Exactly.
And that is something, again, we should strive for. There absolutely needs to be a work-life balance. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Although I wonder a little bit if it's the lifestyles of the rich and famous type work-life balance that they think. Now, not every life needs to have a picture of you in a minivan traveling and you're taking pictures on the beach cliff. You know what I mean? But there is a story around that is selling to people to say, oh, wait, you work hard, or if you do this, you'll get that kind of lifestyle. When in reality is, if you're traveling in a freaking minivan, you're probably stinking in between showers. There's a lot of, like, who knows, bugs in your blankets, and, getting harassed by, police to say you can't park in that spot. There's a lot of different things that they're just not selling you. And I think that is that, again, that cult of influence that does concern me. Business. Let's talk about LinkedIn business pundits that sit there and talk about, if you do X, Y, Z, you too will be LinkedIn famous. Like,
absolutely.
And it's just not right. I guess again, you could be famous at anything, but again, what's the value of it? Where does that translate into your actual goal? Is it going to bring you more business? Is it, more actual tangible KPIs, right? I think from a brand recognition perspective, I think there is a value to the influencers, right? And that cult of influence, right? Because you're now getting your brand out there.
Exactly. I mean, the influencers have a place because they build a sphere of trust. But the question is that trust warranted? Is it valued? Is it something that somebody that you actually should be following? Or is it somebody who's just has 100 million followers on LinkedIn and say, oh, well, if 100 million people are following this person on LinkedIn, I should be following them too. The whole FOMO thing. Now, I also believe that we need to sit there and look at what's right for us, not what is right because somebody else, we're perceiving somebody else's life and we think it's good for them. Stop looking at people's highlight reel and assuming that's real life.
Oh, yeah.
I think that that's a great place for us to leave this. I think it's a great thing to gnaw on. What are you actually, what is your want in life? Where do you want to be? What is your work-life balance? And what are the things that are important to you? Live that life. Stop worrying about how other people are living theirs because you're not seeing the whole story of their life.
Ooh, yeah, it gave me shivers. It just reminds me, and I know you're trying to wrap it up, but I got to mention this again. Black Mirror. I think it's called "See You Soon," and that is this episode where a couple move into a new home together, and they're like starting their life out, and the husband gets in a car wreck and dies, and the technology. There's a service where it literally will take all the social media posts of that individual and build a robot. So in essence, it's the personality of the person, right? Because it's their social media. Well, it's obviously off a little bit because it's always the positive. It's always like the life is great. And so if anyone wants to watch Black Mirror, I'm like a huge fan of Black Mirror. It's a little too close to home at times, but check that episode out because I do think that is where we have to think about with, again, that cult of influence. I keep saying it, and social media. I think it's a really good life assessment of, is your life really that perfect? And why are you trying to achieve something that in reality is probably not the healthiest things to go after, I guess. So.
Exactly. So let's leave it there. I'm Ben.
I'm Sia.
And we'll see you soon.
Hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Gnaw on This, Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at yourbrandmarketing.com or me at brilliantbeammedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. So see you next week for another episode of Gnaw on This, Business Bites.